Hello everyone, and welcome to the 2001 F150. I'm Jacob Klein with Klein Time Photography, and this is the part 2 2001 F150 vehicle walkaround. I'm now a proud Overland bound member, number 14972. Super awesome to be finally part of Overland bound. This is going to be, I think this is like my third week being a member officially. So I can't wait to get on the forum and start commenting, start doing going to some rallies and stuff like that. And start being a member of all the Overland bound guys. I've already met a bunch of guys around town in the local place that I live in, Temecula. So I can't wait to finally get out and start meeting more of them and start doing some off-roading and some traveling around. But enough about that. Let's get back to the Ford. So as you can see, like, the truck's tan now. So I went with that Raptor Bedliner. As you can see, it's really coarse. It's essentially a bed liner. Ended up using, I think, 3 coats on it. So far it's been holding up really good. It really just doesn't scratch. I mean, you'll have some leftover residue, you know, a little bit right here, but with like a medium bristle brush, that all pretty much just comes right off. So it's the process is a little lengthy. It does take a lot of prep work. I have another YouTube video linked to my YouTube page that has like the process and kind of what I had to go through. I think altogether it took me about a week, 5 days to a week to finish everything, but it was definitely worth it. They have a bunch of different colors that you can do, you know, anything that you can think of: red, blue, green, purple. I mean, it's black, white, you know, any type of color that you want to do, they pretty much have it. The biggest thing with this stuff though, I gotta say, prep work. You know, if you don't do the right prep work, it's gonna come off and you're not gonna have a good foundation. But you know, the video talks about all that. But back into the truck, what we're gonna do is we're gonna just do a walk around of whatever else, all the other new stuff that's been going on. We'll start like we did last time, go for the front, work our way to the back, and then have a good time with it. Okay, so right away you can kind of see I already took the light bar off this. It was like a 30-inch aux beam light. It was an okay light bar, but I'll get into why I took it off later. You know, I didn't really think having a light bar up front right here would probably be a good idea anyway, and just in case in the event, you know, I hit something, it's just gonna smash the light bar, then I'll end up having to replace it. But what I did also change was before there was the recessed lights, those are lights that initially came with the bumper. I ended up swapping those for some of these rigids. These are the Rigid Industries flood pattern light. So far, I have had no complaints with these things. They are really tough lights. They will stay, that housing right here will stay clear a lot longer than the cheap aux beam ones. They're completely waterproof. They even come right back here. You have your waterproof plugs come already attached, so all you got to do is just wire it in. You know, they usually come with wiring harnesses. Yeah, so just a really great light. Yeah, I know they're going to be a little bit more expensive. You know, I think a pair of these ran me about, I think I found them on Amazon. They were like $300 for the pair or something like that. But so far, they've been worth it. If you want to keep your lenses clear a little bit longer, try running some covers on them. It seems like even with the older aux beam lights that I had, even though they're junk, but having the lenses on them, even though they're like a clear orangish lens, will help to keep the this initial clear lens keep it from yellowing a lot faster. Another big thing, excuse me. Another big thing, I went away from HID lights. I'm now using LEDs for my headlights. The HIDs, they're okay. They work really good. They're really bright. But, you know, with these, if I really need light, I can use these. And then, because technically these are tied into my fog light, so theoretically I could use these as my fog lights because they are tied into the fog light wiring harness stock on the truck. And then LED headlights work just as good. They seem to last longer. You just got to make sure you get the right ones that have a they have like a flat plane on it. I'll post a picture right after this, so that kind of gives you an idea. You don't want to get like the circle ones. You want to get ones that match essentially the same bulb size that you have for your vehicle. And then like I said, I'll post a picture of that, and it will kind of make sense when you see it. And real quick, as for the front bumper, as far as upgrades go, probably what I ended up doing is I kind of want to make this a little bit more cleaner, if you will. Right now I got a little bit of a gap here in between the bumper and the grill, the plastic grill right here. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to probably end up, I'm working on welding right now, so we'll see how it goes, but I'm going to cut this off, I think, bring this up so it's right in line with the grill. I'll probably do the modifications myself. And then what I'm also going to do is I'm going to make a bumper that comes up a little bit and then also wraps around this area right here, because right now the lights, everything in this area kind of gets hammered excuse me, quite a bit from you know, just going through branches and around tight corners and stuff like that. This area gets like messed up a lot, so I just kind of want to protect the lights in this whole area. So I think I'm going to just try and do like a wraparound bar somehow. And then as for that, that'll probably be the only upgrades. I might remount the winch plug-in. Might put that right here, kind of make it a little bit more accessible. That might be the other upgrade I might end up doing later on down the road too. All right, so engine compartment, what else have we done? So the Ford got rebuilt with Dana 456 gears. Kind of helps with the 35s. Still four-wheel drive, still good to go there. This right here, not really too many changes in the engine compartment. This right here, that's the crossbar for the shock tubes, kind of gives it more strength. Another thing too is if you're running a K&N air filter, make sure you pick up one of these filter weighers. So what these do is they're not waterproof, but they will help your air filter from getting like extra dirt and stuff on it, and then also help keep your air filter dry, or not dry, prevent it from getting soaked like in rain and stuff like that. Because if you're running an open air filter like this with no box or anything around it, it's kind of nice to have that just to prevent anything from getting in the air filter then getting into your intake. Besides that, everything else is the same. The Ford got a crate motor in it, so got a brand new motor in there. Same thing, 5.4 liter V8. Yeah, transmission got rebuilt, so we're all good there. Oh, I also ended up extending my breather hoses on all my transfer cases, transmission, rear differential, rear transfer case, all that good stuff. Because I found out that my breather hoses were mounted in some very poor locations, so I ended up extending all of them just to kind of be on the safe side. And because the last thing you want is you know, any debris or dirt or mud getting into your breather hose and that getting into your transfer case. So just stuff like that, food for thought. And then I also added an alarm system as well. I don't know if that was on there before. It might have been on there on the last video, but alarm system just in case, because the last thing you want is while you're out hiking for your truck to go walking off. So the way the alarm works on this truck is the truck will not start unless the keys unlock it, which are the keys that I have. So another just good thing to have, just in case. All right, so tires. We're now running a 35-inch Nitto Terra Grappler all-terrain tire. Before we were running a 32. Ended up doing a 5-inch lift on the truck. Kind of the bigger tires really helping out. It makes the ride a lot smoother. You know, it makes going over obstacles a lot easier. The Nito Terra Grappler tires so far have been really great. I don't have any complaints about them at all, honestly. They seem to last quite a while. Also, along with the lift, a 5-inch rough country lift, I had Steel Nuts Off-Road locally in Temecula. They did a shock hoop system with 2.5 smooth body remote reservoir shocks. Those have been amazing. Before, the front end, because of all the weight, I had the rough, just, you know, the simple rough country 2.0s. The front end would sag a little, you know, and then it was also super, like, I had a lot of sway in the front suspension, but after doing these, that fixed all those problems. When they did the upgrade though, they did have to take out the plastic liner, the fender liner right here. So what I ended up doing, and I'm still kind of playing around with this, seems to be working out pretty good so far. I might have to kind of fine tune it. I took like some rubber matting and kind of replaced that with the plastic liner, because the plastic liner wasn't going to fit in there because they had to weld in the shock hoops and everything like that. But so far this seems to be working out really good, because all the mud and everything that would normally be going into my engine compartment without the plastic liner there seems to be holding all that back, and it keeps the engine compartment a lot cleaner. Because that was a common problem with this generation of trucks, is the if you go through like puddles or anything like that, water will come up and then get into the ignition coils, and then it could get into the ignition coils, then get into the spark plugs and all that. So figure out the best way is to pretty much block that as much as you can. So I came up with the rubber mat idea. They're a lot easier to install too than having to weld in plates and stuff like that, which I might end up doing down the road, but I'm going to try and play around with this, see if maybe this is a good little other idea. As you can see also on the down below, the rough country, the torsion bars sit lower now. So one of the other next upgrades I'm probably gonna end up doing is Real Lift is a company that makes, they're called torsion bar relocators. So what those do is those are gonna come in where your torsion bars go into your lower control arm, and then it's pretty much gonna put them back up into the frame. That way they're not hanging low like they are now. Because that's the biggest thing that sucks about this kind of a lift kit, or lift kit sometimes in general, is sometimes the torsion bars will come down. You'll have really high clearance, you know, at least for your wheel wells. You know, you'll get a little more clearance this way, but down below, underneath your frame, you have your torsion bars lower, so that's just something else you can get caught up on. So what I'm going to do is, yeah, get those relocators, install those, and that should fix that problem for the time being. As far as what I might do later on down the road, might go with some box plated upper control arms with a uniball, just to kind of increase the strength of the upper control arms, and then also might have them beef up the lower control arms as well. Do like some box plated lower control arms. All right, let's talk roof rack. So before, I'm sure you guys saw, I had the Fab Fours roof rack on here. The rack was cool, it was strong, it was fitting my needs for kind of what I needed it for, or what I would use it for, but the biggest thing I didn't like about it was it just had 3 plates going across, and anything that I threw up there, I kind of had to worry about it falling through the plates and then just starting to hit the top of my roof. So I got this ARB, I think it's the steel wire mesh roof rack. So I don't really have to, the wire mesh goes completely across. I don't have to worry about stuff falling through the wire mesh. The bars wrap all the way around. And then the other cool thing is it's really nice to grab onto. Like if I need to walk around this way to the truck, or need to get around over here, I can use this to hold onto. As far as for mounts and brackets, I just made my own right here. I think I made them out of like 1/8" steel or something like that. I just welded them together and bolted it right to the roof, because of I had the existing holes from the previous roof rack. For lights, so before, you remember, I had them mounted down here on the corners. What I started finding out about having the lights down there was they would get caught a lot on branches and stuff like that. So then what I did was I mounted them up here, and then just kind of faced them down kind of right towards where you guys are. And so far I really like them right there. They kind of project out a little bit more because they're a little higher. And then I changed the lights. I also went with some rigid, these are the diffused ones. They have this kind of diffused cover on, so they're not as bright out, but they throw out more light, if that makes sense. And I kind of figured that was kind of what I needed, because I more so just need the light right here. I just don't really need the light to go far out. And I also kind of use these lights for like setting up camp and stuff out, so they're not super bright where they're going to affect the other campers, but they're bright enough to kind of light around my area that I need to work in and set up camp and everything. So this was the other one. The other cool purchase was up here. We have our rigid 30-inch light bar. It's a flood spot combo. So in the center it's got the spotlights, and then on the sides right here are the floodlights. That thing has been amazing. That's brighter. I feel like that thing's brighter than the 250-inch cheap lights I had on here before. So that thing's just been amazing. I don't even need to run. That's why I took off my front bumper light. I don't even need it anymore because of how bright that thing is. It puts out more light than I could ever need. Main reason I'm starting to go with rigid, I'm starting to find out even though you're going to pay more for the higher quality lights, it's worth it. You know, yeah, they're going to be expensive, but you know, these lights, they all come with lifetime warranties. You know, if you don't have to buy them straight from rigid too. I mean, you can look around on Amazon, eBay, you can get them on there for fairly decent. Normally that light goes, I think, for like $700-800. I found it online for like $500-600, I think. So really good deal. Same thing right here. I also changed these to the rigid diffused lights. They've so far been working out really good too. These steel racks are really strong. I've already hit it a couple times on a couple obstacles I've gone through, just branches and whatnot, and so far it's been holding on really good. I've been really impressed with how they're set up, the quality and everything like that. They are a little heavy. This is the steel version. I want to say it weighs about, I think in the neighborhood of like 50 pounds. Give or take. They have aluminum ones too, but I just wanted steel just because steel is stronger, but it does weigh more. All right. And another cool thing I just recently did was I added on some towing mirrors. Now, a lot of people might have discrepancies about it, but the original mirrors on this truck were very small. They only come out to like right about right here, and then their size of the mirror is probably like about that big. So you can see a little bit out of the mirror, but not a whole lot. These, on the other hand, are amazing. Yeah, they're a little bigger, but you kind of have to watch, you know, when you're going around corners and stuff like that. But, you know, you can still fold them in if you need to, bring them back out, you know. And you can, the greatest thing too is I have this set up to where I can see the rear tire and the back end of my truck and see if I'm going to hit anything. And then this is so tall that I can not only see the side of my truck, but also the racks and stuff too. That way I know if my rack's getting ready to hit anything on both sides. So that's just really helpful, and I don't need to adjust the mirrors or anything to compensate for it. So, you know, food for thought. You know, sometimes bigger mirrors are better. And then the other cool thing too is sometimes I tow with my truck still. I'll tow like a flatbed or something like that. So if I need to tow, all I gotta do is just bring them out, and then cool. Now I can tow a trailer and I can see around the trailer if it's like a big trailer, and yeah, it'll work great. And the best part is they're easy to mount for the most part. And another thing here was I ripped out my rear seat. I added these little storage compartments in the back here. I've got most of like my rescue stuff, vehicle rescue stuff, couple axes, mostly camping stuff as well. You know, all that good stuff is pretty much in there. I didn't really see any point for my rear seats. Nobody ever sits back there, and not to mention, if you've ever seen the rear seats for this truck, they're not very big. I mean, the seat probably comes out to like right here, I think it was, and then you have like, this is the amount of space you have. So if you can find somebody that'll fit back there comfortably, by all means go for it. But it felt more useful for my purpose just to take them out and make it storage. I'm set up right now just for a day trip, but normally what I'll do is I'll have my cooler, that part, so this part flips open, this part right here is flat, and then there's another part over here with another lid like this. My cooler will sit right here and it ties down to this, so that way it doesn't move around at all. And then I'll have like my gloves and stuff mounted right here. But yeah, if you're not using your rear seat, or you're not using stuff on your vehicle that you might think you might need to just remove because it might serve you a better purpose, then, you know, consider it. Possibly do it. Just depends on what your needs are and what you want to do. All right, and another big change. We now have an awning. This is the obviously the ARB touring awning. I think it's like the 2500 by 2000 or something like that. This is the aluminum one with the non-aluminum cover, because you can get like one that's got an aluminum cover. As far as this thing goes, I've had a great time with it. It's easy to set up. I mean, you could set up one person. One person's a little harder to set up, but I can usually set it up in like a couple minutes. They're not hard. The biggest problem I had though was mounting it. They don't really make, ARB doesn't really make mounts that I could find that come from, please correct me if I'm wrong on this, but they didn't really make mounts that come off the rack and then to the awning. I ended up having to use their mounts and then made a, what did I do? I ended up having to drill holes into my existing ARB, like my rack plates, drill holes into that, and then kind of makeshift using the same bracket, if that kind of makes sense. I'll take a picture of it and I'll show you what I mean. But the biggest thing with the awnings, I will say though, is try to keep them, if you can, up a little high. That way they don't catch on anything that might be coming along the side of here, like bushes or anything like that. But also try and keep in mind you want to keep it where you can access it easily. You know, you can unzip it and get up here, you know, really easy without having to, you know, climb on top of the tire and, you know, go up on top like that. You know, just try and keep it really easily accessible, just because it'll make your life a lot easier. Another thing with these, they're aluminum, so whenever you use it and put it out, make sure you tie it down. I already had that happen. I didn't tie it down because I was like, yeah, it'll be okay, and ended up flying over and breaking one of the poles. So yeah, that'll happen. The rods I actually ended up finding at 4-wheel parts for replacing them. They're only, I think I got them for like 26 bucks. That was the only thing that broke, was the aluminum rod that comes out. So super easy fix. I ended up getting 2 of them just in case I break another one, because it's always good to have spare parts. Also ended up right here, that's like a little box that I put my camping stove in, just to kind of keep it up there, kind of keep it up and out of the way. So yep. Another key little item as well was right here. I ended up adding in a locking fuel door. You know, it's just kind of peace of mind. You know, sometimes you go to areas where you're camping out in the middle of nowhere, and it's just good to have your fuel locked up, just to be safe, you know, because before it was just a standard flip door and anybody can throw a tube down there and suck out my gas if they really wanted to. So just kind of peace of mind. These are really cheap to get. I mean, they're only like 20-30 bucks on Amazon. So yep. All right, so this is the recent upgrade. Just recently went to Deaver Springs in Santa Ana and had them rebuild my rear leaf springs. They ended up adding 2 leaves, so now it's I believe a 6-leaf pack instead of a 4-leaf. Added me another, I think, 1,000 pounds or so of carrying weight because the truck's getting heavier. It's now weighs, I think, 7,000 pounds. So with all the extra stuff you add on, the weight starts adding up. Probably what I ended up doing. So far with the Deaver Springs, it's amazing how much better. It brought the back end up a little bit. Right now the back end's a little higher than the front end, which is nice because later on I'm gonna plan on adding on the tire carrier to the rear bumper. So that's probably gonna cause it to sag a little bit more than it should be, right about level. Later on, I'm probably gonna also add some Fox 2.5s to the rear as well. All right, another little thing I did here was I added on a road shower. This is the Road Shower 4S. It's a 4 to 7 gallon tank. These things, so far, I really like it. You know, I was debating on whether or not to make my own. You know, because I've seen on YouTube guys will make them out of like plastic, like PVC, like do like 4-inch PVC or whatever, and then, you know, you can make one out of that. But I was just like, you know, I'd rather just buy one, and this is metal. I don't have to ever worry about it cracking or breaking or anything like that. It's a really simple design. Over here you have your fill cap. That's got a pressure release on it just in case the pressure gets too hot and it needs to expand because of how hot it gets in there and everything like that. And then over here is a, they basically just used a, almost looks like a tire filler valve, and pretty much just welded it to a screw, and then that pretty much just screwed on into the tank. So what you do is you put your 4 to 7 gallons in it, pressurize it using, you can either use like a tire pump, or you can use like a full like air compressor, just depends on what you have. And then you pressurize it, and then you have water. You're good to go. Another little thing you can do too is they have different attachments for it. So right now I have it set up for 2 different things. Right here I have my hose attachment, so if I go to the beach or something like that, or I just need to rinse myself off, I can do that really easily. And then there's a shower attachment that you can put on this end. So when I'm all set up with camp and everything like that, I'll put my little shower station right here, and then the hose just comes through this little opening right here and then comes right down into my shower, and I can basically take my shower. So yeah, so far, Road Shower, you guys are awesome. They have this little temperature gauge right here that you can use. That will let you know like kind of what the water temperature is, because it does get hot, you know, especially if you're out all day and it's like 100 degrees outside, the water will get hot. So just be mindful of that. As far as drinking out of it, I haven't done that yet. I still carry separate water for drinking and cooking and all that stuff. So it's like any other shower tank, you know, occasionally you got to run it out, clean it. It says in the manual you want to add some bleach in it every now and then just to kind of clean it and rinse it, you know, just like any other shower tank, just to avoid the bacteria and stuff adding in there. But besides that, yeah, everything's still the same. It was super easy to mount. Just put it right on top of the rack, and then there's these 2 clamps that just go right underneath the bars, and it just cinches down. So yeah. If you guys have any questions on them or anything else I can help you out with road showers, feel free to let me know. They've got a bunch of really good accessories for them. All right, now the moment you all have been waiting for, the back, where I sleep, where the magic happens. Not really, especially if you're out in the middle of nowhere. So added this little storage area into my tailgate. You guys might have seen that last time. I keep most of all my light tools in here just because it starts adding weight to the tailgate, but really good place if you want quick access to tools and stuff like that. Ended up using that Raptor Bedliner on it too. So it's really strong, doesn't scratch, a little bit cleaner as well. Because the tailgate started getting heavy because all the tools are back here, I put these little hydraulic lifts. You can get them, I think, now for almost any truck. They pretty much just go into your factory where your factory cables mount right here and then comes down right here. And then, so instead of your tailgate slamming down, it lowers down really nice, smooth, and easy. And then also makes it easier when you're going back up too. So, nice little attachment. One of my breather hoses for my rear transfer case, I ran up through here. I put a little filter on it just to prevent any dirt or anything getting into it. Let's see here. If you have a similar setup where you don't really have a ladder or any place to get on top of your vehicle, check these out. This is a hoo-hoo ladder, funny name. So the way these things work is you have a strap, go like this, so it's kind of collapsed right now, and then they just go up just like that. So you can get on top of your vehicle, put everything up there, and then take it down, get back up, store away. It just kind of makes getting on top of your vehicle a lot easier, which is nice, especially when you're camping, because sometimes you got to get on top of the rack just to tie stuff down, everything like that. So it just makes your life a little bit easier. Goal Zero, that's the same. Nothing's been changed with that. I have a solar panel to charge that up. I don't really use a whole lot of power. I'm pretty much off the grid for the most part. The only major power thing I have is maybe charging up all my electronics, my phone, which I usually charge on the way, but my camera, GoPro, and then I also have a drone as well. Let's see here. Typically, if we're on the road a lot, what I'll try and do is I'll throw the chairs and everything up top, and then I'll keep this. The main purpose I had when doing my setup was to keep this as clear as I possibly can. So if I need to, I can just roll the bed back, take a nap. You know, if I've been driving for 8+ hours, and just relax for a little bit. I'm still experimenting with how to keep it really warm in there, especially during cold nights. I mean, a sleeping bag is going to be your best bet, 30-degree sleeping bag or whatever. It just depends on where you're at, how cold it's going to get. But my biggest thing was I really wanted to try and make it so that I can kind of sit back there comfortably without, because sometimes I'll be on my laptop, making videos or editing pictures or whatever. And I just don't want to have to do that when I'm in a sleeping bag with a blanket on top of me, with the beanie on, and just super all bundled up. It just, just kind of makes it a little bit more, I feel like I would be a lot better if I was just a little bit more free and just was able to keep it hotter in there. I'm looking at what I'm going to do probably next is I'm going to take this, this is some Reflectix. I'm going to put that on the sides and then see if I can keep some of the heat in that way. But like I said, still playing around with it. There also is the propane heater route, but I don't know, I just don't really feel too comfortable about using a propane heater in the back of the truck just because it's such a small space, But I was considering it. We'll kind of play it by ear and see what happens. The biggest thing I can tell you is if you're shell camping, one, try and keep this closed up as often as you can, because the more cold air and whatnot that you let out in there, the longer it's going to take to either heat it up and or cool it down. So try and keep this closed and keep that environment there, because essentially once you close all this up, it's its own environment, it's its own capsule or whatever you want to call it. So try and keep it closed if you want to stay warm in there. The other thing too I found out was always keep a window cracked. That way you allow like fresh air in to kind of just circulate through. Otherwise it'll get really muggy in here. Another cool feature was I added up a mosquito net right here. So basically the way it works is that folds down and then wraps around the whole back of the truck. So if it's like a nice day out today, like today is beautiful out in the desert. We're out in Borrego Springs and it's think it's like 70 degrees, so it's perfect. It's beautiful. You know, but I don't want any bugs in the back of my truck for when I go to sleep later. So what I can do is I can just roll this down, drape it around the back side of the truck, and I don't have to worry about bugs or anything else getting in the back. And you know, if I want to hang out back there and get some fresh air, but I don't want to have a bunch of stuff going in, I can do that as well. Besides that, that's pretty much the whole tour. For upgrades, we're pretty much almost done. Honestly, it's been a 7-year project. I've been building this truck ever since I got out of high school, so it's been great. Oh, real quick, if you want some lighting solutions, these are really cool. This is I think it's called the Lofter. It's basically a magnetic light that sticks to your window. So if you need any light, like just right here, you can turn it on and leave it up there. Or if you want to walk around and need to go check something out, you can go check it out and then take the light off. But as soon as you're done with it, just put it right back up and it's good to go again. But it's great to have light right here because I find most of the time I'm usually using my tailgate to work on or do stuff or whatever. But anyway, coming back to the truck, it's been a 7-year project. I've enjoyed the hell out of making it. It's been fun. I find out new stuff. You know, it seems like every single time I try and change something on the truck, I learn something new. A lot of guys have been really helping me with building it, giving me ideas, especially YouTube. Overland Bound, you guys give me some great ideas. I've seen people I've looked at a bunch of people's builds and seen kind of what they use and everything like that, and it's just been a phenomenal experience to be able to look at what people use with their trucks and then how can I incorporate that into my own. Because there's just so many different builds out there, so many different ideas people have, and it's incredible the type of stuff people come up with. As far as this thing goes, we're just about there. The only other thing I'm going to add on would be a tire carrier, which is going to go right here for my full-size spare. Maybe with 2 jerry cans if we can fit it on. It might be a little tight. And then the Fox 2.5s for the rear suspension, and after that we're pretty much going to be good to go. You know, I can't wait to hopefully when I in the coming months be able to start doing some road trips here and start traveling around. Fortunately, my trips were cut short last year because of some technological issues with this. Ended up having to put a motor in it, had to rebuild the transmission because the transmission started slipping. So, but now that that's all out of the way and she's good to go, I can't wait to see where I'm going to end up and where I'm going to go. And the biggest thing that I'm really looking forward to is being able to show you guys and being able to kind of bring everybody along so you guys can experience. For anybody that you know is looking into doing overlanding and looking into camping or doing something similar to this, or I also like doing it for people. Sometimes there's people that they just can't. Sometimes they can't get away from home and they can't really go out and enjoy the things that they want to do sometimes. So that's kind of why I just got into it. Like it was a really good time, and I've enjoyed building the truck. I've enjoyed learning everything. Next thing I'm gonna, it's just honestly kind of funny how it works, because none of this, like, I started off just hiking, and then I started building my truck because I wanted to go to some really good hiking spots, and then I got into photography because I was going to these really cool places, and well, that was a big bug. And I was going to these really big places, really cool places, and I wanted to take really good pictures of them, but I couldn't do it with my phone sometimes. So then I started doing that, and then I started building the truck more so I can camp out of it, because I found that sometimes I didn't want to just go out for just the day. I wanted to go out for maybe a day or 2 days or whatever. And then I started wanting to do videos and stuff like that. And then after that, I started getting into drones, and now it's just amazing how much knowledge and different experiences you get just by one thing, and how it just starts to kind of just expand. Now I'm overlanding. Now I do photography. I do videography. I can do drones. I can do, you know, just all kinds of cool stuff that I've really enjoyed doing, and you know, I'm going to keep doing it just so I can show people like you, who don't get to maybe see it as often, and you know, and also kind of show people that didn't even know that places like these even existed. You know, that for me is that's the ultimate joy. That's the reward, is being able to show people that there's another world out there, and sometimes the only thing you got to do is get in your car and start driving. You know, but the biggest thing is also you got to be prepared for it too, because some of the places you'll end up are pretty remote. But yeah, I'm really excited for the years to come. It's going to be a great experience. But having all said that, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Again, as always, if you guys have any questions on anything about the build, about, you know, any of the you know, stuff I use on the truck, what I can do better, what probably should improve, you know, by all means, shoot me a message, let me know. If you guys have questions, let me know. I'm still, you know, off-roading is just, it's a very big experience for me, and I know that there's constantly stuff I'm going to be learning. So appreciate your guys' comments, appreciate your guys' likes and everything like that, and hope you guys have a great day.